In this video, we are going to prepare the bullet prefab. And the bullet itself, it's actually a sprite. And if we go to the sprites folder, there is an asset called bullets. If you open the sprite editor, we have three slices of sprites: the core, glow, and a different shape of bullet. And this should be named circle, so I'm going to rename it. Pressing apply will save the change to the sprite. And let's expand the bullet sprite. But before adding the sprite, let's create an empty game object. And this is going to be the base for the bullet prefab. Also make sure the game object Z or the forward axis are facing in the same direction as the world Z as shown here on the gizmo. Don't forget to set the gizmo here to local. And then let's add a capsule collider and a rigid body component onto it. Under the rigid body component, don't forget to disable the use gravity option, but leave the is kinematic off, because we are going to set the prefab's velocity later when spawning it. And with the bullet sprite expanded on the project panel, let's drag the bullet base sprite to the empty game object in the hierarchy. This will make the sprite as the child object. If the child sprite is not centered, just set all of the position axes to 0. And we need to rotate the sprite on the x-axis by 90 degrees, so it can be viewed correctly from the top. And then let's set the color of the bullet sprite to bluish. And then I'm going to also add the glow object to be the child of the empty game object. Set the position axes to 0 and rotate the x-axis also to 90. And let's set the color to the same bluish color. Now we can see a slight glow on the bullet in the game view. To make it more interesting, we can change the bullet and glow sprite renderer material to this sprite additive material I've included from the package. It is basically a mobile particle additive material. Now let's apply the material to the bullet base sprite renderer material and also to the glow sprite renderer material. And I'm going to scale the glow to around 1.5 in the X and Y axis. Next, I'm going to adjust the capsule collider size so it fits nicely with the bullet sprite. First, let's change the radius. And as I scrap the value, it is clear that the direction was not aligned to the sprite. To fix this, let's change the direction of the capsule collider to Z axis. Now the capsule collider is facing the correct direction. Let's change the height value to around 0.39 and the radius to 0.1. This fits nicely with the sprite. Now we have set up the bullet. Let's save this to a prefab. But first, let's create a new subfolder inside the prefab folder. We can call this folder weapon. And let's rename the game object to bullet. And set its tag to bullet also. And then let's drag it to the weapons folder. And now we need to create a scripts. So let's create a new subfolder inside scripts folder and rename it to weapons. And inside the folder, let's create a new C# script called bullet move. And the script will handle the bullet motion. So let's open the script. Here we need to declare a couple of variables, and the first one will be a public float variable called speed. And the second one will be a private rigid body, and we can call it myRB. And inside the start method, let's initialize the myRB variable by using getComponent method with type of rigid body. And this will return the first attached rigid body on the bullet game object. And let's also change the update to fixed update. And inside the method, we are going to move the bullet using the velocity properties of the rigid body. So let's just type myrb.velocity, and then we need to pass a vector here. We want to make sure that the bullet is going to move according to the forward or its local z direction. Fortunately, Unity already provides us a way to get the local forward direction in world space, which is transform.forward. And we want to multiply this value with the speed. So let's save the script and let's get back to Unity. I'm going to attach the script onto the bullet prefabs. And then let's set the speed to 10. Let's save the scene and let's test this. And as you can see, the bullet is moving in the correct direction along its forward axis. And let's also make sure the capsule collider of the bullet is trigger option is checked. Let's save the bullet prefabs. If you are using Unity version below 2018.3, you can just click apply on the inspector with prefab selected. And for version 2018.3 and above with the prefab selected, you can select the override button on the inspector and then click apply all. And we want to also enable the is trigger option on the player collider. Now we can save the scene, and this concludes the bullet prefab setup.